word to share with all of you today. It's found within the second book of Kings, the second chapter, and I'm just going to read these selected verses right here. And it says, starting with verse 19, it says, "And the men of the city said unto Elisha, Behold, I pray thee, the situation of the city is pleasant, as my Lord seeth, but the water is not, and the ground is barren." He said, "Bring me a new cruse, put salt therein." They brought it to him. He went forth unto the springs of the waters, cast the salt in there, and says, "Thus saith the Lord, I have healed these waters. There shall not be from there any more death or barren land." These words came forth from Elisha when his master Elijah was taken up. And he had received a double portion because what he was asking for was something difficult, but God blessed him with that double portion. He was able to see his master ascend and the mantle fell. But it didn't fall on him, it fell on the ground, and it teaches us that we have to be humble and bend the knee sometimes and pick it up. Come on now. But we also see that when he picked it up, there was still a lot of emotions going through him. He was upset. He was in mourning. He was frustrated. Why did his master teacher have to leave at such a time as the moment where he was living? And he didn't want to do anything. His first miracle wasn't fire falling down from heaven. It wasn't something big and monumentous. But in his frustration, after receiving the double portion, sometimes you could receive a blessing and still feel frustrated, but God will still use you. Come on now. But we find out that even in his frustration, men came unto him and said, "Look at our city. Look at what's happening. And I know that you're in mourning. I know that you may be going through something on in your life, but can you attend to the needs of the people since you are called by God?" I don't know who you've been called or think you've been called by, but I know you've been called by the Lord. And even in your frustration, God will use you. Even when you feel down and out and you don't feel like doing anything, you still need to be a chaplain. You might not feel like being an instrument or a vessel of the Lord, but you are. So what are you going to do with it? Bring me a cruse of salt. God was ministering unto him. Because inside of his city, the waters weren't good. He was bitter. But the Lord reminded him, be salt. Be salt and you could bring salt. Bring salt and you could bring the healing. He was bitter on the inside, but God was going to make it sweet because he was obedient to the call of God. If there's anything that you are today, be obedient to his call. If there's anything that you are, even in your worst moments, and you know yourself, you know how to check yourself before you wreck yourself out there, you need to understand who you are in the Lord, and you've been called by God with a purpose. Today, if you could bring with you some salt, there may be somebody out there who would need your healing. And he brought it. And it said that the waters were healed and the land was healed. That was a double portion. There was anointing for the healing of the water and anointing for the healing of the land. You asked for a double portion. And now you're upset that I want to use you? And now you're being selective on how you want to be used. You're selective on whom you want to minister to. You better get your act right and know that God has called you to make the difference. And it's all about love. It's all about love. These 50 men that had approached him, before they approached him for this, they said, let's search for your master. because we saw the whirlwind and probably he's somewhere. And he said, no, I know he's gone. No, but just let us search. You won't find him. But go ahead, search, because he was just tired. Sometimes we get tired of people. Praise be the name of the Lord. And he just sent them. And they came back 3 days after. 3 days, the Bible says 3 days. And they said, we couldn't. He said, didn't I tell you not to go? You weren't going to find him. Because I know where he is now. You better know where you are now. And you're in a place of ministry, a place in your life where God will use you. Not only will he give you healing to the waters that are within you, but healing for the waters that are without. People need your soul. Chaplains, may God bless you. Chaplains, take up your cruise, because someone needs you, even if you're not feeling like being used.
Amen.